Welcome, David Levin here, Raising Your Game today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking about the mental game of sports and competition. Fridays are for the rest of our lives. This week, I want to talk about Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. Maybe not the first names that come to mind for sports insights, but hear me out. There are some great lessons in their story for the rest of us. So I'm watching this new documentary on Netflix called Becoming Led Zeppelin. Covers their story from when they got together, actually before they got together, up to their second album, Led Zeppelin 2, the one with a whole lot of love on it, Ramble On. It's a great record. First, my goodness, I love that documentary. I'm a big Zeppelin fan to start with, maybe even bigger now than at the time. Lots of history with their music. I don't need to go into all that now, but I didn't know their story at this level. I even had sort of a vibe that they weren't actually good live in concert. Not sure where that came from. Probably the later stories of their rock star excesses, the drugs, the trash in hotel rooms, all that. But the footage in this show, the live footage, I'd never seen before of them in the early days, is just mind-blowing. You can really tell why people would have been so amazed when they came out. It's just ferocious and intense and original. Anyway, that was really great. Highly recommended if you're interested. But the real surprise, and where the lessons come from, was hearing about the origins of the band and the powerful vision and belief of their founder, Jimmy Page. There's so much to say here, but he has a quote right at the end that sums it up pretty well. He says, quote, "If you have something that you know is different in yourself, then you have to put work into it. You have to work and work and work. You also have to believe in it. But as long as you can stay really true, you can realize your dreams," end quote. So Jimmy Page was already a pretty big star when he formed Led Zeppelin. He was a bit of a prodigy on guitar, got well known in the studio recording world, getting hired to play on other people's records, hired to play on other people's records when he was still a teenager. He left that to get into rock, was in another big band at the time, the Yardbirds. That band broke up suddenly, to his surprise, and he said at that point, I knew exactly what I wanted to do next. So he put together Led Zeppelin. That was his vision. And all the guys in the band had been playing for years and working and working and working to get to their level. And by the way, when Zeppelin's first album came out and they came to tour in America, I think it was 1969, Robert Plant, the singer, was 20 years old. Jimmy Page was 24, 25. But they'd all been all in and working hard for years at that point already. So the first lesson is that understanding he talks about of the relationship between talent and work. He mentions both. You see something in yourself, something special you can believe in. That's great, right? That shows you a path for yourself. It gives you raw material to work with. But then you have to do the work. He says work and work and work. The mistake a lot of people make, and I made myself in my music career, is thinking talent is the whole story. You're a smart kid in school, for example. You get A's without really trying. That's a dangerous trap because you never learn that it's really about the work. So once you hit a level where work is required, for me it was calculus, you're stuck. And the worst part is you think it makes sense that you're stuck. You don't believe you're capable of more. You think, well, I guess I just wasn't that good after all. When in reality, if you'd learned to work and build on your talent, you could have gone much, much farther. As an athlete, once you get past basic high school level play, like competitive club teams and certainly college, everyone at that level is naturally talented, almost by definition, right? Talent is not an advantage anymore. It's table stakes. At that point, and really even to get into that level, the difference is all about work. That's also true for your mental game. Some few rare individuals naturally have a strong mental game. Most don't. They need to work on it. And again, the advantage goes to those who put in the most work. It's not a talent competition. It's an effort competition. So that's the first lesson. Talent's great, but work is what gets you where you want to go. The second lesson has to do with vision and belief. Jimmy Page had a clear vision for what his next band was going to be. He knew exactly what he wanted and why. And part of that vision, and this is just so wild you can't believe it, was that they were not going to make singles. His plan from the beginning that they were not going to even try to have hit songs. No singles, just albums and live shows. You cannot overstate how radical that was from a business perspective at the time. There was no record label in the world who would go for that. But because he was so clear with his vision and so confident with it and already had some success, he decided to pay for their first album himself. So he didn't need labels' money or approval or interference. He just made the record he wanted to make. Then he took the finished album to the labels and got the deal he wanted. No singles, no interference, total creative control. It was absolutely unprecedented. And as far as I know, it's still unprecedented. I've never heard of a deal like that. And you can be sure everyone in the business said, "You're nuts, this will never work." But he had the vision, he had the belief, he delivered the goods, he went for it, and he made it work. So again, for the rest of us, most of us are not the outstanding, obviously supremely talented, ideal athletes, right? I mean, even at the highest levels, just doing the math, most people in any group cannot be at the top of the curve. Most are in the middle somewhere, and a lot are at the bottom of the curve. So we're going to hear that we can't do it. It's not going to happen. We don't have what it takes. But if you believe in yourself, if you believe they're wrong, you can prove them wrong. It happens over and over again. Stars and successful people in every area, sports, entertainment, business, at some point we're told, you can't do this. And of course, in some cases, it'll be true. But until then, until you know that for sure, it's just their opinion. And you can prove them wrong. If you believe in yourself and you're willing to do the work, you can make it happen. So those are the lessons from Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. Yes, success is about talent. You're probably not going to be great at something you genuinely have no talent for. But at the higher levels, everyone is talented. The ultimate key to success is work and belief. Even with talent and hard work, there are all kinds of barriers, including people telling you can't do it, right? But if you have that belief and you keep working, you can make it happen. All right, check out that documentary. If you get the chance, there's a link in the notes. Also, for the perfect program for working on your mental game, check out our Raise Your Game Sports Academy at raiseyourgame.com. Otherwise, that's it for Mental Game Lessons, Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. Let me know any questions. Keep up the good work. I'll see you next time.